Meredith with ExtremeTerrain.com, and today we are checking out the Retrax Pro XR tonneau cover, fitting all 2022 and newer Toyota Tundras. If you are looking for a versatile cover to adapt to your lifestyle and provide you the tough protection that you need for your bed, this is going to be a great pick. The hardcover nature with this offers you top-notch security. The sleek, low-profile build is going to offer a very sleek appearance, and the unique T-slot rails on either side are going to allow you to have the best of both worlds between a rack for storage and a tonneau cover for protection. That's going to allow you a lot of function out of this cover, and not only for the protective aspects and kind of the general nature of a bed cover, but much more when it comes to your build if you're looking for a lot of flexibility and versatility out of your truck. The main takeaway from this cover is the options that it brings to the table, allowing you to flex the cover to your needs, mostly for every scenario, whether it's customizing the placement for specific size cargo or adding crossbars on top of this for additional storage that you don't have to sacrifice. Now with that, this is going to be very low profile and compact with a solid construction, offering you optimal security and protection for your gear, better than a lightweight vinyl option, and it's going to be lockable for the additional step up in security. Now once you do want to get in, once it's unlocked, all you have to do is push it back, and a solid push is going to do the trick with the seal ball bearing track, opening up the bed for full access. Now that is going to, again, allow you full access to your bed. The canister here is not too big, so it's not gonna have you sacrificing much room, and then once you wanna close it, all you have to do is pull it shut, and again, you will be able to lock this in really any position that you need to, depending on what you're storing in your bed. This will be incredibly durable with a full aluminum construction. The tracks and rails will also be aluminum, all with a black powder coating to protect from any corrosion. The canister will be aluminum as well to withstand any accidental hits from the cargo in your bed or putting larger items in. And unlike other plastic options that aren't necessarily as strong, this is going to hold up well to those hits and not break or falter. Now while it does take up a little bit of space in the bed, it is going to be angled, like I said, saving you a little bit of space compared to some big bulky choices. Now again, with the addition of T-slots on either side, you can also add crossbars, but the cover itself does have a top weight capacity of about 500 pounds when it's evenly distributed, so you really don't have to worry about the top of this cover at all. And the best part of all is that this is completely clamp-on with no modifications required, using the existing rail system that you already have. This tonneau cover will range from around $2,500 to $2,700. And compared to others on the page, it is going to be a bit pricier than some of the more entry-level or simplistic choices, but for good reason considering what this offers. Now with the price tag, it will offer good security, flexibility in the positions that you can put it in, and the biggest part is the ability to add storage or accessories above the rack. This will also be more of a heavy-duty choice compared to its sister cover, the Retrax One. If you do need a little bit more durability for your application compared to a polycarbonate build, this one is going to bring that extra brunt to the table. Now I think if you have an ever-changing lifestyle and need a cover that's going to be tough and accommodate for that, then you can't go wrong with this choice. Install, like I said, is completely bolt-on. It's probably gonna take you about an hour to get the job done. Very easy, but I am gonna give it a light 2 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter. I do recommend having a little bit of mechanical know-how in order to mount this up. However, at this point, we can head over to our shop and check out a detailed breakdown on how you can get this onto your Tundra at home. So that's gonna wrap it up for my review. Let's go ahead and get into the install.
The tools you'll need for this project are a 3/8" ratchet, a 9/16 socket, a number 2 Phillips screwdriver, a 1/8 and a 6mm Allen wrench, and a measuring tape. Hi everyone. Today we're installing a tonneau cover on our Tundra, so let's get started. Before we start assembling this, there's a couple of things that we need to take care of first. One, we need to remove this white tube on each end of the tonneau cover, as it's only used for shipping to protect things from shifting around. Then we need to remove these shipping brackets as well. There's one screw that holds them in, one on each end. So we'll use our Phillips head screwdriver to take those out. And then we're going to keep these because we're going to use one of these for measurement after we get it installed. Next thing to take care of is these rails are side specific. So we have a driver's side and a passenger side. Now you will notice that the passenger side has a green sticker on the bottom of it. That's how you know it's for the passenger side. So let's go ahead and get this stuff taken care of. So to remove this white tube, all you have to do is just pull it straight out. And then we'll use our Phillips head screwdriver to remove the screw on the end of the cover here and remove that bracket. And now you can do the same thing for the other side. All right, next thing to get ready to install our rails, we need to open up the release lever cover and then push down on the button and release the lever. Reason for that is that there is a locking mechanism underneath that will lock it to the rail, which will also prevent the rail from going in. So now that we've got that done, we'll take a look at our rail and we'll see that there is a tab here with a hole in it. And then on this tab here, there's another hole in it that 2 screws are going to go into to secure the rail to the cover itself. So there's a hole here and a hole here. They match up with these 2 holes. So now we can go ahead and slide our cover and the rollers inside this little channel right here on the rail. Once we get that done, then we can go ahead and secure the rail to the box itself using the supplied screws and a Phillips head screwdriver. All right, so now we're just going to slide our cover out a little bit so that we can slide our rail onto it. And then we can tip our cover forward a little bit to help align the 2 tabs with the holes. And then once you've got them lined up, go ahead and insert the supplied Phillips head screw. All right, once you've got them both started, then you can go ahead and tighten them up. And now you can repeat that process for the other rail. Now we can install our front cover. And when we install this, you want to make sure that the rubber seal is towards the front of the tonneau cover, and then the cover itself will slide under the rails at the front. There's corresponding holes that line up with the rail and the cover. And then we'll go ahead and insert the 2 supplied screws from the manufacturer to secure this to the rails. Now we'll insert the supplied screw and tighten it down with the small Allen wrench that's supplied in the kit. And you can repeat that process for the other end. All right, now that we've got our rails and our front cover on, it's time to go ahead and install this in the truck. I've got myself a buddy here to help lift it up, and we'll set it on the rails. Now once you set your tonneau cover into the bed, you want to make sure that this front rubber seal that's on the cover that we talked about is laying flat across the front of the bed. Now the other thing that you need to look at is at the very end of this rubber seal, you want to make sure that it doesn't extend past the edge of the side rail on the bed. If it's too long, what you're going to need to do is get a razor blade or a pair of scissors or a utility knife, something like that, and go ahead and trim the ends of this rubber seal. Now we're not going to trim ours because we're not leaving this on our truck on a permanent basis, so we're just going to leave it as it is. Now we can go ahead and install the clamps and do some measuring. All right, now we're ready to install our clamps. And as you can see, they are a 2-piece clamp system. Now the smaller of the 2 pieces is actually going to slide into the factory installed rail on the side of the bed. That will slide one down towards the front end, and we'll keep one here on the back end. And then we'll clamp it all together using this supplied bolt and flat washer once we get them installed. Now to get these small pieces installed inside this rail, there is a black locking plug at the end of this rail that we're going to push in. On the end of it here, you can see the lines on the tab. Push that in and we can slide that out. Once we get that out, we can go ahead and slide these in, and then we can go ahead and finish clamping down. Push down on the tab, slide it out, slide our clamp pieces in. And replace our black tab. Now we're going to place our outer piece of the clamp between these 2 alignment screws here, and then we'll screw it into the piece that we just installed in the rail. Now we'll tighten this down with our 9/16 socket. And you can repeat that process for the other 3 clamps. All right, now that we've got our tonneau cover completely secured, it's time to do some measurements to make sure that everything is going to work the way it's supposed to. So the first thing we're going to do is measure the distance between the inside rail on both sides here and use that as our base measurement. And then we'll go down the rest of the rails and make sure that they're the same. If not, we'll adjust. If they're the same, we're good to go. So first thing we're going to do, measure the distance from the ends across the vehicle, and we have 58 5/8 of an inch between the rails. Now we'll also measure again just in front of the box for the tonneau cover here. And we have 58 5/8 of an inch. The last measurement we'll take is at the opposite end, and we have 58 5/8 of an inch on this end. So there's no adjustment that we have to make on ours because it all came out really good. However, on your truck, if there is a discrepancy, what you can do is use these 2 alignment pins right in on either side of the clamp, and if they're too far apart, what you can do is use the supplied 6mm Allen wrench and screw those alignment screws in, and that will bring the rails closer together. If they're too close, then you screw them counterclockwise, and that will open them up till you get the right distance. Now it doesn't have to be exact, you just need to be within a 1/16 of an inch and everything is good to go. Since ours measured out good, we'll just go ahead and complete the rest of the install. Now the next thing we need to do is check the clearance between the end of our rails on our tonneau cover and the tailgate. To do that, we're going to be using the shipping bracket that we removed earlier in the process, and this last piece right here on the bracket is 1/8 of an inch, and that's the distance that they say we should have between the end of the bracket and the tailgate. So we'll go ahead and close our tailgate, and then what we're going to do is slide the end of this bracket here that we removed earlier between the rail and the tailgate. As long as it's a snug fit, but it does fit, we're good to go.
we're good to go.
Now the next thing we need to do is check the clearance between the end of our rails on our tonneau cover and the tailgate. To do that, we're going to be using the shipping bracket that we removed earlier in the process, and this last piece right here on the bracket is 1/8 of an inch, and that's the distance that they say we should have between the end of the bracket and the tailgate. So we'll go ahead and close our tailgate, and then what we're going to do is slide the end of this bracket here that we removed earlier between the rail and the tailgate. As long as it's a snug fit, but it does fit, we're good to go. So we'll slide this in between, and it is just a slightly snug fit, so our distance is good. Now you can go ahead and repeat this process for the other side and make sure that that's the same. Now, if there's too much of a gap or not enough of a gap, what you'll have to do is loosen up your clamps on one side, move the rail to fit the bracket depth, and then go ahead and tighten it back up and repeat for the other side. Now we're ready to install our drain hoses. And it's really difficult to see because it's so dark and the fact that the opening for these hoses are on the bottom of the case for the tonneau cover, but you'll be able to see them. They're about 6 inches in from the side, right up at the front, at the bottom of the case. All you have to do is push these in. They snap into place. There's a rubber seal on the hose itself, so that'll prevent any leaks from coming through if there is water in your case. And then the other thing that you need to be aware of is that the other end of this hose should go into either a pre-drilled hole from the factory, or if not, then you'll have to drill another hole to be able to fit this hose in there to drain all the water out. If you don't have a hole already drilled, then you'll have to make sure that you've got a drill bit large enough to put these through. Now let's go ahead and get these installed and finish up our install. All right, so here's our snap end of the drain hose, and the hole is right here. So you get an idea of where to look when you're underneath here. And all you have to do, like I said, is just push it in and it'll snap into place and lock it in. Now you can go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. Now that our install is absolutely complete now, last thing to do is to remove the protective film that's along the case of our tonneau cover. To do that, all you have to do is find a loose edge and just start peeling it back. Now we won't make you sit through the whole process as we take this off, but you get the idea. It's just grab it and pull and work your way around and remove all the protective film.
So that's going to wrap it up for my review and the install of the Retrax Pro XR tonneau cover fitting all 2022 and newer Toyota Tundras. And you can find this right here at extremeterrain.com.